Chuck Palahniuk admits Brad Pitt's film mastered one thing his book lacked. Fight Club gets placed in a league of its own after author Chuck Palahniuk was left spellbound and awed by David Fincher's adaptation of his novel that in a defining moment in the history of filmmaking. Chuck Palahniuk was left awed by David Fincher's adaptation of his debut novel, Fight Club, starring Brad Pitt. The film's streamlined narrative helped the otherwise dense story flow more easily as compared to the clunky and often incomprehensible nature of the original text. In an interview with Jeffrey Kleinman, reported via DVD Talk, he went on to praise the movie for more than just its fluid structure. Fincher also outwitted Palahniuk by ironically linking the film's plot to the very thing the novel tried to criticize. I was sort of embarrassed of the book because the movie had streamlined the plot and made it so much more effective and made connections that I had never thought to make. There's a line about fathers setting up franchises with other families, and I never thought about connecting that with the fact that Fight Club was being franchised and the movie made that connection. I was just beating myself in the head for not having made that connection myself. Such a feat is not only rare but nearly impossible to achieve, no matter how talented, visionary, or esteemed a filmmaker may be. But Fincher made it seem easy with his rebellious blend of art, action, and dialogue, turning it into the pièce de résistance of Hollywood filmmaking. Chuck Palahniuk showers Brad Pitt's Fight Club with rare honor. For a book to be adapted into a film or series, there are countless constraints related to the medium, format, dialogue, visuals, and runtime of the project. Some texts are so deeply encoded in lore and mythology that they are readily declared as unadaptable. Watchmen, Dune, and the Three-Body Problem. Other novels are so vast and expansive that their adaptations are limited to only one story rather than a complete saga, A Song of Ice and Fire. However, Chuck Palahniuk's socio-politically charged Fight Club belongs in a league above it all. The novel explores themes of misogyny, mental health, consumerism, capitalism, anarchy, toxic masculinity, identity politics, and the fall of morality. These were all heavy issues that can hardly be contained in a book, let alone a Hollywood movie made for the viewer's entertainment. And yet, the film by David Fincher and Brad Pitt exists as a timeless classic. Fight Club occupies a space in pop culture reserved for the rarest few, where the movies are endlessly quotable and adaptations are considered far superior to the original via Screen Rant. The film succeeds in doing that by streamlining the dense narrative and giving it a coherent structure. It also cuts down on unnecessary frills in favor of a more dynamic storytelling. Fincher's film proves how well Palahniuk's story works in a visual medium rather than in writing, thus earning a rare honor in the league of irrefutable Hollywood adaptations. No wonder Palahniuk was left embarrassed by his own work after watching Fincher's movie. Fight Club fumbles David Fincher's masterpiece with an uninspired ending for a movie so inspired and enthralling. It comes as a surprise that David Fincher would fumble his masterpiece with such an unoriginal ending. The only thing wrong with the otherwise perfect film is that it's far too cliched and conventional climax compared to the rest of its edgy and radical narrative that I wasn't a big fan of the ticking bomb, that counting down clock near the end. And screenwriter Jim Yule stuck it in because it's obviously such a trope, and I've grown to accept that it is a trope. When the source novel is so heavily inlaid with controversial, ethically ambiguous, morally questionable, and socially taboo themes, it seems all right for at least one section of the movie to yield to the studio's demand. In the case of Fight Club, that demand was a stereotypically grand Hollywood finale. One can only dream of how the movie would have turned out if unmarred by studio notes, screen time constraints, and unnecessary embellishments suited for a Hollywood production. What aspect of Fight Club did you find the most difficult to follow? Let us know in the comments below. Fight Club is now available to stream on Disney+, Hulu, and HBO Max.